All right. What's up, everybody? It's been a minute since I've seen all your we've seen your smiling faces.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry, we apologize for the
Thank you.
absence the last couple of weeks, but we also don't apologize for the absence the last couple of weeks because it was awesome. Had a great little trip overseas, which I know we kind of kept you abreast of a little bit on the emails if you guys are reading those. But yeah, it's good to see everybody back on the call here.
Great
Yeah.
to see you back.
Thank you.
Did so the last Jeff and I spoke, did you get on the scale or the what's the machine? that's
Oh,
at
the
gym?
in-body. No, I
Right.
didn't. I'll do that immediately after this call.
That's what you said yesterday.
Yeah, I meant to do that this morning, but got a little busy around here. But I don't think I did too much damage. I mean, I know that I did not stick to any sort of eating or drinking or dietary guidelines while we were over there. We just enjoyed the trip. But I have to say that being as active as we were too makes a big difference when you're over there. We were walking, we were on so many different walking tours and hikes and things like that kept us really busy. But when you're on a boat that has 3 very incredible meals every single day, as well as wine and beer, and you're in Germany, and all the rules went out the window. But I'd like to pride myself on the fact that I wasn't too much of a gluttonous punk over there. It was great.
That's pretty good. Well,
Yeah.
if you're
Feels
wearing
like you
this,
adapted to local culture there. That's
We
good.
did. We did. We tried to see if we could drink them out of Pilsners, but they won.
No.
that's a fool's errand over there.
Yeah. No, it was for anybody that hasn't been on a trip like that. So we went on a river cruise of the Rhine, and man, I really didn't know what to expect. I knew that it was going to be beautiful and everything over there. Just the history of all the towns that we went to, I mean, everything over there is hundreds and hundreds of years older than our country, right? So like we went to a small little pub, and we got to meet the owner. He and his wife just purchased the place a couple of years ago, and at one point he just looked at me and he said, "This bar is older than your country by hundreds of years," and it's just
Right.
so cool to see the way that all those different towns are structured and really built around the pedestrians and walking but being on the river was such a unique experience, being able to pretty much travel while you're sleeping. So you just get to wake up and enjoy the city. You don't have to spend time in a car or train or any of those different modes of transportation. So it was phenomenal. I cannot recommend it enough. And I know we were talking about the cruise line that we were on, Jim. Avalon was the one, and 5-star, top notch, just incredible.
That's what I've heard. So it's great.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're going through a huge heat wave over there, and the Rhine River is much lower than usual, and so we weren't able to travel as far down the river as we were planning originally on our itinerary, because that boat basically just goes up and down the Rhine from Amsterdam down to Frankfurt and back up. And so we probably would have been able to get down to Frankfurt, but then they wouldn't have been able to come back up because the river was still getting a little bit lower.
Yeah.
So, but we pretty much hit all the tours we were supposed to. We just had to travel on a charter bus one day to get to our one destination, but it was so much fun. And we bookended it with a couple extra days, an extra day and a half in Amsterdam, and then an extra night in Mainz, 2 nights in Mainz. And that
That's
was
good.
really cool.
And you want your parents, is that correct? Your extended
Yes.
family?
Yeah, so it was my parents, my brother and his wife, my sister and her husband, and then me and my bride. And then my dad had 4 of his friends that were also on the cruise, guys that he played soccer with, 2 of the guys he played soccer with way back in the day, and another guy and their wives. So really, we had 16 of us from St. Louis, and there were only 71 passengers on the boat. So we kind of took control of that place.
Yeah, that's
As you can
great.
imagine.
You
Yeah.
hijacked the boat.
We
with a bunch
hijacked
of,
it.
We'll dominate.
Yeah, that's all right. No, Jim, the extended vacation is tomorrow. The extended family vacation with I don't know, 50 or 60 of us.
Oh, wow.
It's
Yeah.
That's
it's a
great.
bunch.
Yeah, this will be just a little 3-day trip for it's Ryan and our moms or sisters. And so it's that side of the family. And we're going to this cool little place. It's like a little resort place where they've got, a lake and tennis court, swimming pool. But the coolest thing for us is they've got a little 5-hole par 3 golf course that you can just go out and loop as many times as you want. And
Yeah.
so we have a blast with it. It's super laid back and casual. This, if you had seen our posts last year from this same place, this is where we were playing with no shoes, no shirts, in our swimming trunks, and just walking the course, just like reminded me of Spieth and Justin Thomas and those guys on spring break.
Yeah.
Probably just not quite the level of golf.
Yeah, theirs was way lower than ours.
Yeah, right.
I bet we'll go around 6 times on Saturday.
Yeah,
Just
I would
stop
imagine.
and stop by the pool and stuff. But yeah, it's nice to play shirtless. Yeah, and we'll play with just get to bring, play different games. Just bring 2 clubs this time. Just bring 3
Right.
clubs next time.
Mhm.
1 club. So it'll be fun. Yeah, you just walk
Yeah.
out there. Nobody's ever out there. The greens are nice. It's actually
It's a good
pretty
little
good
course.
pretty good hidden gem. If you're ever in DeSoto, Missouri.
Yeah.
Is it still very hot in St. Louis, like 100 degrees, or has it calmed down?
It's still in the 90s. We've had some major rain. Unfortunately, we need the rain here to head over to Europe to fill the
Yes.
rivers. So we've had some flash flooding last night. In fact, I don't know if I can. Ryan, I sent you that video of Old Warson Country Club, didn't I? Did you see that?
I didn't open it yet. I've been working hard.
I'll try to get this video out. So our good friend Brian Lean sent me a video. He works at Old Warson Country Club, which is one of the nicest clubs around here, and it's amazing the amount of water that they got. I mean, one of the ponds filled up, or like a pond in front of the par 3 filled up and then was spilling over onto the 12th green, and it's just like a raging river.
Oh,
yeah.
now I see it.
Yeah.
We really want some here. We really want to have it shipped over here.
I know.
We're not allowed to use much water here at all at the moment. In the southeast corner of the UK, it hasn't rained for months. It's
Holy
really,
cow.
really, really bad. Different parts of England has had some rain, but not here in the southeast. We are closer to the main Europe, so we have the same heat waves, and so we're saving, shower water, washing up water. There's hosepipe ban coming up, so it's really bad here.
Yeah, when I was over there, I saw they were just starting to put out some of those alerts on the news of, having to really regulate your water usage and everything. I'm going to see if I can play this on the on my computer here. Give me just a second to try to fiddle with this, because it is pretty amazing to see this. At
Well,
first,
yeah,
I
it
couldn't
is.
even I couldn't really figure out what I was even looking at, what hole I was looking at. Let me see if I can share my screen here.
Yeah, the temperature has dipped, Marina, into the 93. So after all that rain, and it's supposed to go back up again. So it's steamy around here.
Can you see that, Rhino?
Yep.
You can see the video?
Yep.
All right. Wait till you see it. So that's usually just a small little pond.
Well, the video hasn't opened yet.
Yeah.
I can see the thumbnail of it.
Oh, it hasn't? Okay. Hold on. So you're just seeing the wrong thing. Here we go.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
That's so weird to see that.
Look at this.
Wow. Oh, that's crazy.
So where that river is down below, that's a fairway.
So that's the number 13 green, right?
Well, now we're looking down onto 12's fairway. The double
Right, I
has
mean,
the double creek.
Right.
Yeah, so that's like the walking path up to 13 green.
Oh my
It's
God.
unbelievable. Yeah. So you're right, Marina. It's like we need to flip flop weather.
Yes, please.
Yeah, right.
In Texas, we're experiencing a similar thing in England, where worst it's been in 40 years. And we have a real high-end development 6 miles east of us that has got a Jack Nicklaus course on it. And most people have water wells. And now about 6 or 7 families, their well has gone dry and they have
Oh
to
my
literally
gosh.
truck the water in to fill their reservoir. So it's getting kind of crazy. And a lot of cattle has been sold at half the normal price because it get too expensive to feed them.
Right.
Man,
So it's a real interesting dynamic.
it really is. It's amazing to me how one thing affects the other, right?
Oh,
Like
exactly.
so many different puzzle pieces that
Yeah.
you can't just solve it by fixing one of the little issues. There's such a ripple effect of all of it. So, but yeah, hopefully, you know, for folks around here, we get things dried up, and for you guys over there and both down in Texas and, you know, overseas, you guys start to get some precipitation. It's crazy. But on a lighter note, the vacation was incredible. So yeah, it was really neat. We had so many local experiences, got to walk through the different towns. And I was telling Ryan yesterday, I just had such an appreciation for the way that the cities are set up, because here in St. Louis, we are a river town. Like, we are right on the Mississippi River, but we haven't done anything cool with our riverfront. And it's such a wasted opportunity of such a great, you know, piece of our country. And being over there and seeing how there's so many riverboats that are docking, and you can just walk off into the town, and then there's even boats cruising up and down throughout the day, just like day cruises. It's like, man, why can we not figure out how to do something cool like that over here? And really, you know, St. Louis is we're in some troubling waters right now, as far as just our city in general, and some of the crime and things like that. So there's a lot that needs to be done, but I can't help but think that if we had something like that, we could really spruce up people wanting to come to this city and, you know, see our city and everything that it has. So
Yeah, Austin kind of has it figured out where they've got like people in the river all the time, going down the middle of the city,
really,
just on kayaks and stand up paddleboards, all that good stuff.
yeah,
Getting
I
their,
mean,
you know, getting their motion in, moving throughout the day.
yeah, I saw people kayaking in the Rhine River. You know, like, you got these huge river boats, and then you've got these, all, you know, even some of these different barges and stuff like that, and then just a dude kayaking down the side of the river. But all the riverways were so clean, and it just looked so much different than
Yeah.
what we're used to over here. So
Not a lot of tugboats and barges
yeah,
that we're used to seeing.
exactly.
Nice. So what do you call it? The theme of the kind of the week so far has kind of been like, don't really. That's funny. Like Joe Rogan's talking about, like, you can't rely on motivation. He's like, I don't, like, this is Joe Rogan saying, like, I very rarely have motivation. He's like, most of the days I'm too tired to go to the gym, but he's like, I always do it, obviously,
Hmm.
because he's totally shredded. But he's like, if you start to rely on willpower and motivation, you are SOL, my friend.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I will say that, you know, just with this whole vacation, and everything, and being gone for 2 weeks, and, you know, there wasn't really a great opportunity. That the fitness center on the boat was literally smaller than the office that I'm sitting in right now. And so Sue and I went down there one day and did a little dumbbell workout, but it was like literally a treadmill, an elliptical, and they had a bench, and then, like, tucked in the corner, they had a stack of small dumbbells, up to like 20 pounds. And it was just super crowded in there. And we are also really, really busy throughout the whole day. But, you know, most of that busyness was walking around, go to a restaurant, or, you know, just kind of different parts of the town. So I didn't get in much of my workout. I didn't get hardly any workouts in. Did a
Right.
little bit of stretching, and, you know, just trying to keep the body moving a little bit. But even that was lax. It's like you're busy, you're on the go, you're constantly moving. And so coming back into town, it's taken me a little bit to get back into my routine. where you're kind of off and you got to kind of figure out how to get the wheels turning again. So I'm in that state of like just pushing through the inertia a little bit and just kind of getting the body moving again. I've had some kind of weird, and I need to look this up if it's related to maybe flying or whatever, but I've even had, like when you go on a boat and you get a little bit of that like motion waviness kind of stuff.
Right.
So the riverboat, you barely know that you're moving on a boat at all. It's not like being on an ocean cruiser or anything like that where it's up and down. So I didn't really expect hardly anything. And throughout the trip, I would just have a couple little like, whoa, that kind of felt a little weird. But then over the past couple of days, and I don't know if maybe it has to do with being on an airplane for so long too, and just like messing with your head and pressure and stuff. But like last night, I had a major, I would call it a vertigo episode. Woke up in
Really?
the middle of the night and like literally my room was spinning. And so like even today I was doing some workout stuff and just like trying to like kind of take it easy a little bit, but also knowing like I need to kind of get the wheels turning again. But yeah, that was kind of freaky a little bit. And I think it's a combination of all the things, being on the boat, being on the plane. And then yeah, that was just kind of strange. But
Yeah.
back to the motivation thing, like the willpower thing, it's like I could easily see how I could just continue to, kind of wait this out and just kind of, not get back into the workouts. And it's like, no, even though you don't have the motivation to do it, thankfully, I think I've built up the habits of where my body's almost kind of yearning for it a little bit. And you got to just
Right.
kind of get into that mode of, what you got to do, even though you don't want to do it.
And yeah, you still, once you get into it, I think it's just the starting point.
Mhm.
Once you start working out, then you feel great. Afterwards, you feel great. It's just that first 5 or 10 minutes of the session, whatever it is you're doing.
Right. It's almost the psychology. It's such an interesting psychology game to me. Like it could be like the 10 minutes before you're supposed to work out, you start to think of all these excuses of, maybe
All right.
why you're not to do it, why it's not the perfect time, or other little things that you could be doing or should be doing, or, the busyness. And then, but once you get into it, then it's like smooth sailing. And once you're done, you're like, why was I playing that game with myself to start? And then, you do that over and over and over again. It just kind of builds up that momentum where you realize then it becomes the habit. You start to enjoy the process of it. And, we were talking about a great quote that we heard, Rhino, yesterday was, regarding, willpower and sticking to it. And the quote was, the man who loves walking will go further than the man who loves the destination. So if you're always just worried about the goal that you have set in front of you, and that's what you're trying to get to, rather than just enjoying the process of the walking or the working out or whatever, if you enjoy the walking, you're going to just keep going. If you enjoy the destination, you're going to do what you need to do to get to the destination, and then you're going to stop.
I suppose, Jeff, you didn't even manage to do your EFDs in that cabin that you were.
No, I
No.
didn't. It was more, because even in the cabin, it's like you've got the bed and then you've got this tiny little space
Yeah.
up against the wall. And so like even to get on the ground was not really, I mean, I could have squeezed in, but I couldn't have done everything that I wanted to. So I mostly did like just some standing up stuff, some arm circles and neck circles and rotation, things like that. But yeah, I didn't really get down on the ground and do all the EFDs and those kinds. So I really was kind of thrown off of my normal routine for sure. And I will say that my body kind of felt it too. Like I've still been struggling with a little bit of some back things for the last several months. And I've been working on doing a lot of my different therapy exercises and things and just trying to get myself back, but not doing the EFDs. I could tell that things stiffened up, even though I was walking a lot and moving a lot. And just goes to show that, just walking around isn't enough to keep your body in the right shape for life, but also especially for, playing golf.
Because those have really helped me when I've been on holiday, and I'm going on holiday now on Saturday to Finland for little bit more than a week, and I'm determined to do my EFTs every day, because it's easier to then come back and continue with what you were doing beforehand if you at least do that. I feel really horrible if I don't do EFTs. It's like brushing my teeth nowadays. I just got to do it wherever I am, but it's not always that easy.
Right. That's not motivation. That's just discipline. That's
Right.
You can rely on that. That's discipline's always not always there, but motivation is seldom there. When it's something that I mean, motivation to go out and have a couple beers with your buddies, that's always there. But the motivation to do this all the time is not. But the discipline, absolutely, and the habit, which obviously Marina's got that good habit.
Yeah, it's like how many times at the end of a night you don't really want to take the time to go brush your teeth, but you still go brush your teeth, right? That's when you know that you've dialed it in, when you have the mobility drills down to that kind of a level where I don't want to do these at all, but it's just part of what I do. Like that has literally become part of your identity, Marina. I mean, that it now is ingrained in just the things you do every single day, which is awesome.
Definitely. Absolutely. Definitely.
Well, one thing I've noticed was in weeks 5 and 6 of the Forge, the euphoric feeling you had of completion of establishing those habits, but how well you felt eating right, exercising. And unfortunately, I've taken a sabbatical after that, and now I'm getting ready to get back into it here soon to do the back 9. But it's you're going to be benefiting from it in so many different ways. So
Yeah, that's the hard part from our point of view. Like when we're trying to get the word out, like I promise this is going to make you feel great, but until you do it, it's you don't quite understand. There are no words that we can put on a web page that'll tell you how great you feel.
Yeah, and until you do it multiple times, right? It's not just a one and done. Like, oh, that feels amazing. And sometimes the first couple of times it feels awful. You hear the cracks and the pops, and your body doesn't love those movements. But that's also sometimes the eye opener. I know that when I bring golfers in here, and especially doing like the standing hip rotations or the 90-90s, that's always an eye-opening one for a lot of them. Like, whoa, that's way harder than it should be. And why does my knee and hip not go as high as your knee and hip?
right.
But once you get it done several times, you start to notice it. And I saw Elliot, thank you for the comment there. I actually was talking to a buddy of mine regarding the vertigo and an ENT. So there is a plan to follow up with the doc if I continue to have any symptoms whatsoever. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you had your that is kind of a perfect storm. You had your sea legs, and then you got on an airplane for how many hours were you on that?
It was over 10 hours on the way home.
Yeah.
So, just the different pressures and things like that. So yeah, it was a little unsettling, but
I bet. And well, plus there's a little bit of history there with a couple of our cousins and aunts with the vertigo stuff. So
yeah,
a couple of times it's happened to me where I've gotten out of bed too fast in the morning and been dizzy for a little while. I'm like, oh, hope this goes away.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened last night. It was storming here, and I think I woke up in like a jerk, in a jolting motion, and like sat up and then went to roll over to the other side and was like, whoa, what's going on right now? And then it settled down within a few seconds, but definitely a little different. So
yeah, that's unnerving for sure.
What we got any questions in the hopper here, Rhino, for the old crew and A?
We do. We've got one Marina. It must be a new person. I don't recognize the name. So it's so the question was kind of what's been your biggest challenge with like sticking to things, or what's kind of derailed you a little bit. So what's the best way of deciding when you need a recovery day? So that's been the biggest challenge for me for sticking to the strength program.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to tell you, Marina, but again, it's one of those answers where it starts with it depends, right? Like, and a lot of it depends on how your body feels. And I mean, you know your body better than any of us would. So, you know, if you're feeling a lot of soreness, or you're just feeling run down, or you know that you've just been, you know, playing golf for 5 days straight and working out for, you know, several weeks at a time. I mean, I look at, you know, like the guys on tour, like Hayden Buckley, you know, every now and then he'll skip a tournament and I'll be like, why isn't Buckley playing this week? And then you look at his schedule and it's like, oh, because he played the last 5 weeks and then he's got another 4 weeks coming up after this that are going to be all good opportunities for him to play. And so that's when, you know, a guy like him or yourself or any of us, we need to just kind of figure like, what's our limit? What can we handle? When do we start to see some of those signs of, man, I'm just wearing down a little bit? Or, you know, for somebody like you that I know is very diligent with your workouts, with your golf, if you start to feel like, you know, like you're not looking forward to your workouts and you normally do, then it's like, maybe I just need to take a day off or just do something different. Maybe today is the day that I just go, you know, take a stroll or go for a swim or do something completely different than your normal routine, just to let your body kind of relax again. Obviously, if you use, you know, anything like the Whoop, you know, I try not to rely on
No.
looking at the Whoop to tell me the way that my body feels. I look at it almost as kind of a score on how I prepared myself from the day before. You know, how well did I sleep? How good were my eating habits? My strain level? What did that do to me for today? If I wake up and I see, oh, I'm in the red at 20%, that doesn't tell me like, oh, I can't work out today. It might, I will go by the way my body feels for my workout. Now, it may give me an inclination of, you know, why my workout didn't feel as good as it may have last week. But, you know, these things can be very helpful too, to just kind of give you some of those signs of like, hey, you know, you might even feel like you're normal, or it's just kind of a normal week. But like, if you look at something like that and it does say like, you're pretty run down, there's other factors other than just, you know, how much sleep you got. Sometimes it's the amount of stress you have. It's the other factors there too.
But I just really, really want to do my strength exercises, and I play so much golf. So then when I have a day off and I still feel okay, I ask myself, all right, do I do more harm to my body doing it now, even though I'm dying to do it? Because I've now been playing 3 days of really stressful golf in really high temperatures, but I slept really well and I feel okay. Okay, I might collapse in the afternoon, but in the morning I could still do my weights, couldn't I? And then the next day I'm playing golf again. And then I don't have a chance to do my strength till maybe 3 days later.
Right.
So
let me ask you this. In a situation like that, say you've played a couple of days, you've now got a day off from golf and you really want to do your strength workout. If you in the past, when you've done that, then the next day, do you feel run down, or do you feel okay?
I feel okay because I do adjust it. I might not do 3 times 10, 10, 10 or 4 times 10, 10, 10 of everything. So I adjust it, and I just don't do the whole program necessarily, but I do some of it. So it makes me feel better. I do, if I get really run down, I'm not stupid. I know, and if I have a really, we had big championships last week. I was dying to do my exercises, but I thought, all right, I got to take it easy today because otherwise I'll collapse for the next 2 days. So, but it's just in between. I know I shall listen to my body. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, well, listen to your body. Obviously, also your body is kind of craving some of the strength training too, which is a great thing. So I would say maybe in a situation like that, instead of doing the 10 reps, let's knock that down to, you know, maybe 6 to 8 reps or something lower on the reps. You could maybe even go a little higher on the weight and just do 2 to 3 sets of that. And that way you're still satisfying the crave for the strength training. You're still getting some of the weights in your hand, but it's not going to be as taxing as doing as much volume as the program is laid out for you. So I think it's better to do a little bit, even if you go down to, 2 sets and, or just do some of the exercises, because if you just kind of wipe them clean and it just never works out for you to get those in, you're naturally going to start to lose some of that
Mhm.
strength, because then all you're doing is golfing and walking, right?
Yes.
So if we also want to keep in that balance of having some of those strengthening exercises to push and challenge those muscles a little bit to maintain what you've built up in more of the off season.
Sure. Yes. Thanks very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question.
And the fact that you are constantly working out and allows you to know your body, which a
Yeah.
lot of people, like, again, Joe Rogan talks about that all the time. They're I think they got on the subject one day where like these ladies are pregnant and they don't really know it, and it's like, Jesus, how can you know your body so little to not know that you're pregnant? And that's obviously an extreme example, but there are, most people, are you sick? Are you not sick? Is this just the way you live life? You're just always kind of blah. So it's a good thing that the answer is, yeah, just listen to your body, because at least you can hear it where most people cannot.
Yeah, that's a great point, because the more you do all this stuff, and I think just the more you become aware of the way your body moves too. So in a little bit of a different sense, the more you do your strength training and mobility work, the more you just kind of understand how your body moves and where your body is in space. We would call that proprioception, which is a huge benefit for working on any kind of skill related stuff. When you're working on your golf, the more you're in tune with your body and how it works and the balance and where your limbs are. How many times have you been in a golf lesson or working on something in your golf swing where it's like you're trying to find where that position is and trying to feel where a position is? The more that you're in tune with your body from your strength training and your mobility and just, maybe even yoga sessions or whatever, the better you're able to understand that awareness of where that club head is, where the hands are, what the hands are doing. And that's all going to play into your athleticism. That's why I think that, we talk about not trying to mimic golf swings all the time with your exercises, but simply doing different exercises, putting yourself in different positions and angles and challenging it with different, vectors of force. That allows you to then understand how your body needs to react in every situation. When you're a little off balance, when you have an uphill lie, you have 1 foot in the bunker, all of these different situations change the way your body has to react when you swing. And the swing might look similar, but internally your body is firing so many different muscles and muscle fibers at the same time to try to create what is your normal swing. And that gets better the more that you do all of these things. So that's just a little sidebar on the benefit of, why staying active and why staying consistently active. Because again, if you just work out really hard, for 3 hours one day, and then you do that once a week, your body's not getting that constant reminder of how it works. But doing it more consistently, even for shorter periods of time, that helps to build up that consistency and that body awareness as you build it.
One technique I've been applying this past month with our heat in Texas is to try to be at our practice range at the club at 6:45 when it opens up at 7, do my EFDs there on the range, and then practice for an hour, with each of the clubs and everything. And that really helps get the day started, and you're getting that mobility going, and you're working on your game, and you're establishing that discipline and getting up out of the house, so you don't hit the snooze button too much, from that standpoint.
Yeah.
It's helped.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see if anybody has done a study on, and I'm sure they probably have, on just the correlation of warming up and dropping scores. Just that simple little thing of
Right.
doing a little 5 to 10 minute warm up and how that impacts maybe even the scoring on the first 6 holes, right? Like, I think that'd be kind of cool to see, because I
Right.
guarantee that it helps to eliminate some of those poor shots and bad swings on the first couple holes.
A lot of us are just playing 9 holes in the morning from like 7:30 to 9:30, then you're done. So it's a lot of fun doing it that way too.
Yeah. And yeah, if you're only playing 9 holes and it takes you 5 of them to get warmed up, that's a bad
Yeah,
deal.
no,
Yeah, I'm sure your back nine would have been
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
never,
should keep
and
some. I should keep some stats if ever I don't warm up before a round. It happens occasionally, very occasionally, if my husband is very in a hurry and he doesn't want to go to the range, and I got my resistance bands and I got all my things I want to do on the range, and I'm fine for the first few holes, whereas he might hit it there or there.
Mhm.
And for myself, because it's my routine, there's nobody else on the range normally warming up. It is amazing, certainly. I mean, so, and they then start off hitting it left or duffing it or whatever. And I do feel that I have an advantage because I'm there. I have already played those holes on the range, you know, and I have warmed up my body.
Mhm.
But if ever, I shall keep a stat. I'll tell you what happens if I don't go there.
I may have mentioned this on the show before, on one of these calls before. I still think I would love to have like an 18 strong warm-up station on every driving range, you know, so it's a stand-up pole or something where you can have cables and or bands attached to it, and that way it almost normalizes the fact that here's the warm-up station and people don't feel like such idiots, you know, pulling out their own bands and doing their own exercises, but you've got this little station, it's got all the tools you need there, and it's just off in the corner of the driving range, and it's just normalized that you go over there for 5 or 10 minutes before you go hit balls, and then you're off and ready to roll by the first tee.
Everybody knows that I'm crazy anyway, so they don't take any notice. I stand there with my Theragun or my resistance band, and so I don't care. I don't really care, but it would be great. Yeah, send it over to here. I will put it up.
There we go.
Yep.
Well, they think you're crazy until you go out and beat the pants off of them. So
that's right. Always. All right, very cool. All right, the next one. The biggest challenge is trying to find a program, a golf fitness program for 60 to 70-year-old. That's been my biggest challenge.
well,
Sticking with it. Right. I guess that's more of a question like, I don't know if this is working or is it, there's a little bit to unpack there. Is it too stressful?
yeah. So that's, it's hard to figure out when you're talking to a bigger audience. Obviously, everybody has their own individual needs of what their body can and can't handle. And when we developed our different programs, we really tried to keep in mind the fact that it's going to be for a wide array of people, a wide array of golfers and skill levels and, fitness, fitness ability or training age is another way to say that. In fact, I can almost, and Brandon might correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of remember maybe the first message that Brandon, who was on the call here, sent to me asking, like, is the Golf Body Blueprint a program that is, basically good enough for a high level golfer that's very athletic and in pretty darn good shape? And my answer, and Brandon, if that wasn't you, I'm going to give you credit for that. But my answer was, basically the way we designed the program, like the Activate and the Golf Body Blueprint, was with the intention of you can kind of adjust each exercise. That was
me.
How about that? That was years ago. You can adjust it to your own level, as far as like the amount of weight that you use, the resistance that you use. And even in the videos, I tried to explain, maybe a different alternate way that you could do that exercise. So my suggestion would be, first of all, if this person has not tried one of the programs that we have, I would recommend starting with the Activate program, and looking at that program, look at the different exercises and see what are the things that you can or can't do in those programs. And obviously, first, we've always said, if it is our program, let us know what you're having trouble with, and we'll help you figure out an alternate exercise. But in that, it's kind of like, how can you adjust it? Can you adjust it by reducing the weight? can you adjust it by maybe changing the range of motion a little bit without cheating, but without changing into bad posture, but maybe the range of motion is a little bit hard. I know some people have trouble getting down to the floor. Maybe they've had a total knee or a hip replacement or something that's restricting that. What are ways that we can adjust that a little bit to make it a little easier to get in that position? Or can you do it on a table or a bed, or like a treatment table or a bed, or some other sort of compensation that we can make an adjustment? But I mean, ultimately, it sounds like they're asking for what's the right program. If,
Right.
like, so in our world, I would say starting with the Activate would be the first one, because we kind of designed that to be a little bit more of an entry level with those people in mind. But again, the Activate program is also something that I would recommend for Brandon. If he's gone through the Golf Body Blueprint, you can do the Activate and get just as much bang for your buck out of it, because you'll push yourself. You'll push the range of motions and the strength and resistance and the limits in that, and you're going to get the mobility. You're going to get the strengthening exercises.
Yeah, I guess it kind of goes, from top to bottom. Again, it's a pretty broad question. What kind of golf fitness does a 6 or 7 year old need? And it could just be walking for some people. If you can't walk down the street and back, and then it could go all the way up to you need to fly to St. Louis, and we'll put you on a very custom program. And then everything in between.
Yeah. So just kind of thinking about this question a little differently, I guess, a better answer to give this person, take our programs out of it, are,
Hey, we're
sounds
trying
like
to
they're
sell some
looking for-
programs here, man. Come on.
well, everybody on here, I think, has already been on a program. But we say it all the time that really there's the foundation of what we believe your program should entail, and that's the different motions of pushing and
Right.
pulling and learning how to hinge properly and squat or lunge, and then obviously being able to rotate well and be able to stabilize against rotation. So those are the big things. Now, for somebody in their 60s, that could be, I mean, I know guys in their 60s that, the pushing could be a heavy bench press or a heavy dumbbell press. I also know some people that it should just be maybe a small band crunch, but having the baseline of those 5 big things, being able to press, being able to pull both horizontally and vertically, being able to hinge, so that's like a deadlift or a back extension, or just being able to bend over and, towards touching your toes, learning how to keep posture in those exercises, figuring out how to get a little bit better in your squat if you have trouble squatting or lunging, but working on those motions. So you're working the bigger areas of the body, you're working the bigger muscles of the body. You're getting your hips moving, you're getting your shoulders moving, you're getting your trunk rotating. Then obviously the EFDs are going to help with a lot of the just movement piece of it. And even in our programs, we have the move days where it's a little bit more of the mobility stuff, making sure that your trunk is rotating, your shoulders are moving, your hips are moving, all of those pieces. So it's going to vary depending on the person's level and what they can do, but building stronger legs, we've always said, is one of our top goals for anybody, because it's such a neglected piece, especially with golfers, kind of feeling like it's a sport where you just walk and swing. But the fact of getting stronger legs is going to help build such a bigger base of support. It's going to help stabilize. When you can stabilize better, you can then move better. So all of those different pieces. So I would say to this person, make sure you have those basic foundational components to it, but then figure out what are the right ways for you to do it. What's your level of resistance that you can handle? What are the positions that you can handle? But make sure that we combat those big 5.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's more of an overarching good philosophy to follow, rather than a granular step-by-step thing, which if you need that too, there's that available to you as well. So
Right.
Gotcha.
And just for everybody on here, if you are, we've started doing something a little different with some of our social media stuff, because we've always kind of we've always kind of thought of 18 Strong as being a bigger resource than just our knowledge together, right? We've had so many incredible coaches on our podcast. We've made great relationships with so many different coaches that we almost feel like it's our mission to kind of get more of the good information out there, more of the good resources out there. And I know for a fact that I am not the smartest, trainer that in the world, right? And my background is the physical therapy piece. We've worked with so many great strength coaches, other therapists, other chiropractors. So what we've started doing on our social media, primarily on Instagram, is also just finding some of the great content that's out there of different exercises. Because as trainers and coaches and therapists, you tend to get into your groove of what are the exercises that I use all the time? What are the things, the way that I program all the time? And it's really nice, even here in the gym, it's cool to see the way that other people do things, right? And you'll see like an exercise like either, oh, I kind of forgot about that one, or I've never seen that before and I like what that's doing, or I like the way that person is working with their client. And so we wanted to start highlighting some of the great coaches, even some of the golfers that are doing the right things, and they're posting, videos of themselves doing different exercises. So we're starting to repost that stuff. So the 18 Strong Instagram page is going to become a much bigger resource just for ideas. And I kind of go back and forth because I don't want to promote like the flashy Instagram exercises, right? So you can know that anything that we post on there is curated by me. That's me reposting different people's stuff. So it's not just like, oh, this is cool looking. It's like, oh no, that's a quality exercise, or that's a coach that I really, really respect. And so I just want to throw that out there that, if you haven't been on our Instagram page in a while, we're going to start putting a lot more of that stuff out there, just as a resource and to highlight some of the cool people that we know or don't know and we really like, and hopefully we make a connection with a new coach and or some new golfers. And obviously it's a great way to get our brand out there as well, and commingle and work together with a lot of different people in the industry.
Yeah, I like that. That's an important life lesson. You know what you don't know.
Yeah.
I think, right. If you run across, here's a perfect example, right? If you run across a personal trainer who thinks he knows everything, run for the front door.
Go the other way, right?
Because that guy's probably been in, when I was, I might have been in high school. I think I was doing a social service project at St. Anthony's up the street. It's a hospital. And one of the doctors, they were telling me a story, and I kind of run across him, that the way he was doing CPR was like, I knew that he was doing it wrong because he was so old and had never progressed as a good physician. And this hospital did not have a great reputation, by the way.
Right.
And the way they were describing him, like, excuse me, it felt like Dumb and Dumber, like out with the bad, in with the good, where he was like pushing on his legs. It was, and I was just a dummy high schooler and I knew it was wrong. So thank you for continuing your education, Bodine.
Yeah. And for knowing when I've reached my boundaries, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that, that's what they, who was it? Henry Ford, right? He just said, surround myself with people that are smarter than me. I don't have to have all the answers.
Yeah.
Right.
Warren Buffett says it all the time.
Well, as a member of the previously mentioned age group, I would say that the Forge was a great experience for me, and because it was simple, but it kept you on pace. And I love the checklist that Ryan put together, because you put that on a clipboard and you keep that in front of you, and it kept you going. And I would be actually doing my EFDs if I had to go for a doctor's appointment or something. I'd be in the lobby doing it while I'm waiting to see the doctor. And the nurse would come up, "Are you okay?" I said, "Oh, I'm fine. Just do my EFDs.
Right.
Let me sign you up."
Let me sign you up. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right.
Can I just say thanks, Jeff, to the idea with the Instagram? That is a great idea to sort of refer to other people and what you have found interesting or something, because I belong to several sort of WhatsApp groups with like-minded people. Like we have the Carl Morris's groups, and we're very active. So if you listen to a good podcast, we put the link down. And for example, now if we could create something within the crew which would be similar, you know, you find some good programs, or you find some good exercises, or you find a good podcast to listen to, you just put the link in somewhere so the rest of the crew could see it. I think it's a great way. I mean, I'm doing something absolutely stunning now. I've been invited by Carl Morris to join a team of 4 with Gary Nicol, and then our mindfulness teacher, and then it's me. And we are going to do a certification course with a doctor in neuroscience. Science. He's an American called Izzy Justice. Absolutely mind-blowing, and we already have loads to do before the course starts on the 16th, and it's absolutely fantastic. And these sort of things I'd like to share with other people, because to understand the brain and the brain waves, how that can affect everything, and that your subconscious makes 85 to 90% of your decisions. I mean, it's mind-blowing how you can then you know, once you understand your brain, how you can act differently, whatever you do. So, I mean, these sort of things would be great to just put this link, check out this one, you know, and spread the word.
Right.
Marina, what platform do you guys do that with, Carl? Is that just in Facebook, or is it on a website, or?
No, the certification course is normally about $3,000 he charges.
No,
this
I mean where,
Oh, the
where
group.
you, yeah, in the group.
No, it's a WhatsApp group.
What's that?
So we are from all around the world, and you got to sort of be accepted. You asked to be accepted in, but most of us have done courses together, so you can
Sure.
then add yourself in. And one very special group is those who have done the Mind Factor courses, and that's also mostly pros, but a lot of ordinary golfers like myself. And for years and years and years, we have Zoom meetings, and sometimes Carl pops in and has a guest speaker. We've had some of the players coming on from the tour, and it's been absolutely awesome. And I warmly recommend that, and it's really, really good.
Yeah,
And
I actually,
we meet up and play sometimes.
yeah, in fact, I was on one of those calls. Carl invited me onto one of
Yes,
those
you
calls a
did. I
while
remember
back.
that call.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but yeah, so that's kind of what we've been wanting to do with the Facebook group. But Ryan and I, we've always talked about, what's the best way for us to create a little bit more community amongst the crew, and to be able to interact more, and for you guys to get to know each other a little bit more, and help each other and provide resources and all of those different kind of interactions. And so, it's one of those things where we probably need to get better at just monitoring in the Facebook group and kind of sparking a little bit more action in there. But if there is, a better way to do it, that's something that we've always kind of talked about.
I think the WhatsApp group is fast, and it doesn't require you to remember to go onto the Instagram or whatever. You get a notification if you have your notifications on, saying, all right, something is happening on our site, and you see, all right, that is a link, that is good. And then Gary Nicol comes back and says something, and it's ever so cool. It's fast. There are not lots of information, but it's precise, and it's good, and it's from all around the world.
Is it a little more? Does it show up a little bit more like a text chain, almost?
It is. It's a little bit like that. Yes.
Okay.
Don't you use WhatsApp in America?
I've used it very little, just primarily when my family was overseas another time. My dad uses it a lot because he would travel a lot. So that's really been my only use of it, is texting back and forth with them. So I'm not super familiar with it.
No, but it's very efficient. It works really well for years and years. We've had great sort of knowledge through it, and just staying in contact with like-minded people.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
I think from a business side, I think WhatsApp's been tested by several different parties, like security companies and so forth, and it's been well recommended, and especially for any international communication, it helps out. So I think they got a lot of security features already built in there for the information that you're sending.
Nice.
That's my
That-
understanding.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I mean, you got an administrator who will get a person who wants to join. He or she puts the information into the group and say, we welcome this one. So it's very sort of regulated in that sense. Nobody can just sort of join without being invited to it.
Right. Gotcha. Awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, it's another Facebook property. They own WhatsApp,
Oh, do they?
or pardon me, Meta owns WhatsApp now.
Meta.
Nice. All right, so we've got a couple minutes here. Let me get to one of these. Where was it?
Yeah, if anybody else on the call has a question you'd like us to tackle, by all means, either unmute yourself or type it in the chat for us.
Yeah. So the was the question again on the floor was what's the biggest challenge you've had sticking with a program? Which this one was actually kind of the opposite. Biggest challenge I've had is the best way to implement a program, which makes perfect sense, like an onboarding thing. If you can't get started, you're the right way, you're not gonna, stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, and I probably credit this to you, Ryan, more so than even me, but saying that you have to find something that you enjoy, first of all, in order to expect to stick with it at all. So, if you're somebody that is really struggling to get anything started, I would find the one thing that like, okay, I could do that a couple times a week. Maybe that's going for a walk. Maybe that's, walking the dog. Maybe that's, get on your bike and go for a bike ride. Or maybe it's just you're going to go to the gym and you're going to pick 3 exercises that you're going to do. Start simple. It all depends on where you are right now and how much you're going to want to push yourself and challenge yourself. Now, with that being said, don't baby yourself either. Like sometimes you just got to kind of suck it up and say, I'm going to do it. And it's almost that drawing the line in the sand. Finding what you're going to do, though, is very, very important. So having something written down, like even this week for myself, I don't have a written down plan that I'm working off of right now. And I find myself just kind of, in that little wandering zone, like, okay, what am I going to work on? What do I want to do? What do I have time for? And if you don't have something set out ahead of time, it's funny how we just kind of let the time slip away. And then all of a sudden you don't have time for whatever you thought you were going to do. So have a little bit of a plan, either written down, what are the exercises you're going to do, and maybe even write down in your planner, like that's what you're going to do that day. Because then you're going to be more apt to stick to that. There's something very powerful about having something written down. But the more you know what you're expected to do or what's expected of yourself, the more likely you'll actually get it done. If you just say, okay, I'm going to go work out 3 times this week, but you don't know what those workouts look like.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck, right? You might even get to the gym and be like, wander around for a couple minutes or wander around for 30 minutes. And even if you do a few things, it's not going to be very productive. But if you say, I'm going to go to the gym and Jeff told me I need to do those 5 things. So I'm going to do a push, a pull, a squat, a hinge, and I'm going to do some sort of rotation or core exercise. And you just do those 5 things, check those off your list. Just like you said, Jim, having a checklist makes such a big difference every single day.
That's right.
So that would be my suggestion is, first of all, figure out something small that you can commit to, and then make that commitment and have it written down as far as what that really looks like. What does that workout look like? Or I'm going to go walk for 15 minutes 3 times a week. There we go. Just like that.
That's my notebook from all our Zoom calls.
Love it.
That's
Write
outstanding.
it down.
Yeah. Have a plan, then execute the plan.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing. And
Yeah.
right, there is nothing better than there's my to-do list right there, Jim.
Yep.
Than crossing something
Crossing it
off.
Oh, it's a great feeling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially that checklist, Ryan, on that 40-day forge.
That's
Man,
that's
that
a
is-
good one.
That is exciting to check that off.
Yeah, because you get to do it 5
Yeah.
or 6 times a day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
One of my neighbors asked me why I was out at 11 PM in the dark swinging a golf club. I said I had to get it done. I only had a few minutes for the 12
Sounds-
o'clock.
That's right. Jim's
and
finally
then you
lost it.
and then you sold them on doing the forge.
Yes, right.
Right. Awesome. All right, Jeff, it's 3:01. Good call. Glad to be back, man.
Yeah, good to be back, guys. Great to see your faces, and good luck with everything. Marina, good luck with the workouts and the golf and all the tasks on your to-do list.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully you guys all get some rain in the needed areas, and hopefully we dry up like we talked about earlier on the call. But no, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys showing up every single week, and the questions that you have. By all means, continue to throw more questions at us and let us know, what we can help you guys with.
Cool.
All
Thank
right,
you very
guys.
much.
We'll catch you guys next week.
Take care.
See you next week.
Bye.
Stay strong.